You have been taught a lie about the beginning, a comfortable story that keeps you locked in a world of effect, forever searching for a God outside of yourself. You believe in the beginning was a point in time, a distant prehistoric event, and the word was simply a spoken command. This misunderstanding is the very root of your separation, your pain, and your sense of lack. I am here to tell you that the beginning is not a moment in history. It is the eternal, instantaneous point of your own awareness. It is the very point where consciousness stirs itself into being. And the word is not a sound, but the unspoken, vibratory force of God's own self, knowing. The silent I am that gives form to the formless. This is not a doctrine to be believed, but a living reality to be experienced. What you are about to receive is not more information. It is an initiation into a truth that can shatter the illusion of your mortal sense and reveal the kingdom of heaven present here and where you are. If you are ready to lay down the burden of a seeker and awaken as the found, then you must listen with more than the physical ear. You must listen with your entire being. If this light has touched you, if even a single word has resonated with the truth of your own being, then you are called to bear witness. Do not let this resonance pass unnoticed. Let your subscription to this channel be a sacred vow to your own awakening, a tangible sign that you choose to remain in this stream of revelation. And in the comments below, speak the number 7, not as a digit, but as a symbol of your readiness for the inner Sabbath, the perfect rest where this word is finally heard. Now, consider how you have always been taught to perceive the beginning of anything. Your day, a project, a relationship. You see it as a linear sequence, a starting gun that fires, launching you into a race of effort and effect. You wake up and immediately begin to contend with a world that already exists, a world of problems to solve, bills to pay, and conflicts to manage. This, we are told, is reality. But I tell you, this is the grand illusion, the very hypnosis that the truth within, in the beginning, is designed to shatter. This foundational misconception forces you to live life backwards. You believe you are a creature born into a ready-made world, and therefore you must spend your days reacting to it, fighting against it, or pleading with a separate God to alter it for you. You are like an actor who arrives at the theater believing the play is already written. The sets are fixed, and your only role is to stumble through your lines as best you can, hoping the director is in a good mood. This is a life of perpetual seeking, a constant state of becoming, forever chasing a future moment of peace, prosperity, or understanding that never arrives because you are looking for it in the wrong direction. The beginning is not a point on a timeline. It is not yesterday, or this morning, or the moment you started reading these words. It is the very fountainhead of consciousness itself, the very point of your own I am-ness. It is the dimensionless, eternal now from which all experience springs. Think of your awareness not as a camera recording a pre-existing world, but as the very light by which the world is made visible. Without that light, There is no picture, no object, no world. The beginning is the activation of that light. It is the primary causative point. It is the silent, unobserved space before the first thought of the day arises. In that space, there is no problem, no lack, no fear. There is only pure, unconditioned being. That is the true beginning, and it is available to you in this very instant. Let us bring this from the abstract to the tangible. You wake up in the morning with a sense of dread about a difficult meeting later in the day. According to the old understanding, the meeting is a fixed event in your future, and the dread is your natural, inevitable reaction to it. You are at the effect of the meeting. But the truth reveals a different order. The dread is not your reaction to the meeting. The dread is the very substance out of which the difficult meeting is being formed. The feeling of anxiety is not a response to a future event. It is the creative power of the word in its negative aspect, already at work, shaping your experience. You are not reacting to a world. You are, from the point of your beginning, emitting a world. The power lies in recognizing that you can consciously return to this beginning at any moment. It is not a one-time event in a cosmic history. It is the very mechanism of your consciousness. Before you speak a word to your spouse or child, there is a silent inner space. That space is your point of power. From that space, you can emit the word of patience and understanding, or you can emit the word of irritation and conflict. The interaction that follows is not a random occurrence. It is the direct and perfect manifestation of the quality of consciousness you emanated from your beginning. This is why the mystics have always called for watchfulness, for vigilance. They were not speaking about monitoring your outward behavior for sin. They were pointing to this profound necessity of guarding the point of origin, the beginning of your awareness. When a thought of lack appears, do you accept it as a report on your external condition? If you do, you have fallen asleep at the wheel of creation, and you will inevitably manifest the experience of lack. But if you can, in that moment, recognize that the thought itself is the creative force, you can consciously return to the beginning, to the silent I am, and let a new word issue forth. The frustration you feel in traffic, the joy you feel listening to music, the peace you feel in nature, none of these are caused by the external conditions. They are the external conditions themselves, manifesting as the direct expression of the quality of life you are living from your own point of origin. The traffic jam is not causing your impatience. Your impatience, emanating from your beginning, is manifesting as the experience of obstruction and delay. When you truly grasp this, the entire universe shifts from being a prison of predetermined events to a fluid, responsive field of pure consciousness. Your life is not something that is happening to you. It is something that is happening as from you, moment by moment, from the eternal, ever-present, and always accessible beginning. And so we come to the very heart of the creative principle, to the nature of this word. You have been led to believe it was a sound, a command uttered into the void. something God did, and perhaps you must do in the form of affirmations or prayers spoken aloud. This reduces the most profound power in the universe to a mere mechanical act, a spiritual technique you perform. But the word is not a sound. It is the unspoken, vibratory force of God's own self-knowing. It is the silent, immediate knowing of I am. Before a single syllable is formed on your lips, this knowing exists as a complete, living reality in consciousness. It is the shape of your awareness itself. Think of a master craftsman, a violinist, who holds a perfect note in their mind before a single bow touches a string. That inner hearing, that precise, living vibration held in consciousness, is the word. The physical sound that follows is merely the effect, the shadow, the manifestation in a lower dimension of that primary causal reality. Your entire life, as you experience it, is that physical sound. Your circumstances, your relationships, your health, your wealth, these are all the heard melody. But the music, the true composition, is originating from the silent knowing within you. You are not listening to a pre-recorded symphony called your life. You are the composer holding the entire score within your own I am. This is why positive thinking and vocal affirmations so often fail. You are trying to paste new words over an old, silent score. You stand before the mirror and say, I am abundant, while deep within, in the silent word of your being, the vibration is, I am lacking. You are saying one thing, but knowing another. And it is the knowing, the silent word, that always manifests. The universe is not responding to your lips. It is responding to your essence. The feeling, tone of your being is the only true prayer. That underlying, often unacknowledged sense of yourself as either limited or limitless, as sick or whole, as alone or one with all. This is the word you are speaking every second of every day, and your world rushes to conform to its structure. Let this sink into your daily experience. You are about to enter a negotiation. You have prepared your arguments, your data, your persuasive phrases. This is the outer word, the spoken sound. But what is the silent word within you? Is it a deep, unshakable knowing of your own value and the harmonious outcome for all? Or is it a vibration of anxiety, a fear of being taken advantage of, a hidden sense of unworthiness? The outcome of that meeting will not be determined by the cleverness of your spoken words, but by the power and quality of this silent word. The other party is not responding to your proposal. They are resonating with the vibration of your being. Or consider a moment of physical discomfort. The common approach is to see the pain as an enemy to be fought, a problem existing in the body. You might take a pill, which is another form of outer word, an attempt to alter the effect. But the truth is, the body is the most intimate and immediate manifestation of your silent word. It is a perfect embodiment of your inner state. A clenched jaw is not merely a physical condition. It is the manifestation of the unspoken word, of unresolved tension, of held back words, of a silent, I must endure. The healing does not come from fighting the jaw, but from returning to the beginning and allowing a new word to form in the silence. a word of release, of trust, of letting go. The body has no choice but to obey. This word is not something you create. It is something you are. It is the I am that you are. When you say, I am healthy, you are not creating health. You are aligning your conscious awareness with the eternal, healthy is-ness of your own being. One, in the silent depths of your soul. I am one with the infinite supply of the universe. You are not manifesting money. You are allowing the abundance that is already the truth of your being to flow into visible form. The struggle ends when you stop trying to speak a new word and instead become still enough to listen, to hear, and to know the one true word that God is forever speaking as your own very life. This brings us to the most pivotal and liberating correction you will ever receive. If the beginning is your own awareness, and the word is the silent knowing of I am, then the logical, inescapable conclusion is that the God you have been seeking in the skies, in the temples, and in the pages of holy books is not a separate entity from your own being. This is the final veil, the last and greatest illusion to be dissolved. You have been taught to pray to a God out there, to plead with a distant monarch for favors, to live as a spiritual beggar in a universe of lack, forever separated from your own source. This belief in a God apart is the very root of all fear, all loneliness, and every sense of inadequacy you have ever experienced. Consider the profound implication of this. Every time you look at a problem in your life and think, I hope God will fix this, you are reinforcing the wall of separation. You are affirming that the power is there, and you are here, and a great gulf exists between you. You are, in that moment, denying the very truth of your being. You are like a wave in the ocean, praying to the ocean for water, completely unaware that it is itself nothing but the ocean in expression. Your prayer, in that form, becomes an affirmation of lack, a confirmation of your own believed insufficiency. It is a plea sent out from a foundation of emptiness, and it can only return to you as an experience of that same emptiness. This is not to destroy your concept of God, but to fulfill it. It is to bring God out of the distant heavens and reveal God as the very substance of your life, the intelligence of your mind, the beat of your heart. The power you have been attributing to an external deity is in fact the dormant power of your own Christhood, your own true identity. The creative force that shapes the galaxies is the same force that animates your desire for a better life, your longing for peace, your capacity to love. It is not two powers, one great and one small. It is one infinite power appearing as you. Let this truth illuminate the common struggles of your daily existence. You face a financial challenge. The old prayer, the prayer of separation, sounds like, "Oh God, please send me the money I need." This prayer emanates from a consciousness of lack and powerlessness. It reinforces the problem. But the prayer of oneness, the realization that the infinite substance of God is your own substance, shifts the activity entirely. It is not a prayer of words, but a silent inner turning, a knowing that since I and the Father are one, The limitless resource of the Father is the very truth of my being now. You are not a separate person trying to get God's attention. You are the very activity of divine abundance, and your need is the universe's impulse to provide for itself in a new form. The situation may not change instantly, but you have moved from being a victim of circumstance to being the conscious center of divine activity. Or you feel a deep sense of loneliness. The separated self cries out, "God, please send me someone to love me." This cry, though heartfelt, comes from a place of incompleteness and only deepens the sense of isolation. The realization of oneness transforms this. In the silence, you turn within and know, I am one with the source of all love. I am not an empty vessel seeking to be filled. I am the very fountain of love itself. My being is love. This is not a mental exercise in self-deception. It is an attunement to the ultimate reality. From that conscious awareness, you no longer radiate a vibration of need, but a vibration of wholeness and love. And the law of the universe is that wholeness attracts wholeness. Relationships then form not out of mutual need, but out of mutual fulfillment. This is the great secret that has been hidden in plain sight. The kingdom of heaven is not a location you go to. It is a state of consciousness you awaken to. God is not a person you meet. God is the very life you are. To know this is to be free from the tyranny of an unpredictable universe and a capricious God. It is to step into your rightful inheritance as a conscious center of divine power and presence. Your entire spiritual practice shifts from one of gaining favor to one of realizing identity. It is the journey from being a sinner seeking salvation to being the Son, knowing his Father. This realization of oneness marks the end of the spiritual search as you have known it. The entire journey, with its struggles, its techniques, and its desperate grasping, has been predicated on the belief that you are here and God is there, and you must find a way to bridge that gap. But when you understand that the seeker and the sought are one, the search collapses into a profound and permanent state of knowing. You are no longer reaching for a truth you hope to find in a future moment. You are abiding in the truth that you are right now. This is the transition from the agony of becoming to the peace of being. The mind, trained for a lifetime in the ways of seeking, will rebel against this. It will insist that there must be more to do, higher states to attain, deeper mysteries to unravel. It thrives on the pursuit, and the idea of a journey's end feels like a death to it. This is the final barrier. You must be willing to lay down the cherished identity of the seeker, the pilgrim on a path, the student at the feet of a master. This does not mean the end of growth or unfoldment, but it means the end of seeking for your source outside of your own awareness. The unfoldment now happens from within as a natural flowering of the truth you already are, not as a reward for effort expended. This shift is the difference between studying a map of a territory and actually standing on the land itself. The seeker is forever analyzing the map, comparing different routes, and dreaming of the destination. The one who knows has folded the map and is simply present, feeling the earth beneath their feet, breathing the air, and experiencing the reality directly. All the concepts, the spiritual jargon, the complex philosophies, they were the map. They were necessary until they weren't. Now, they must be relinquished so you can fully inhabit the direct experience of your own being. You can observe this dynamic in your own life. You want peace. The seeker's approach is to try to create peaceful conditions, to meditate for longer periods, to go on a retreat, to avoid stressful people and situations. This is an outward movement. It is an attempt to arrange the world so that it will bestow peace upon you, and it works temporarily. But the peace is fragile, dependent on the maintenance of those external conditions. The moment life intrudes, the peace shatters. The state of knowing operates in the opposite direction. It does not seek peace, it knows itself to be peace. From that inner knowing, you engage with the world. The stressful situation arises, but it arises within the context of your already established peace. You meet the chaos not from a place of need, but from a foundation of immutable stillness. The circumstance does not give you peace. You bring peace to the circumstance. Take the desire for purpose. The seeker frantically looks for a sign, a calling, a mission statement from the universe. They try different careers, different roles, different spiritual practices, hoping one will finally feel like the one. This is an exhausting and often disappointing pursuit because it is based on the idea that purpose is something outside of you that you must find and claim. The one who knows understands that purpose is not a specific job or role. Purpose is the quality of consciousness you bring to this moment. Your purpose is to be the conscious embodiment of the I am right where you are. Whether you are washing dishes, leading a meeting, or caring for a child, your purpose is to do it as an expression of that fundamental knowing. The doing flows from the being, and in that, every action is imbued with supreme purpose. This is the great rest. It is the Sabbath of the soul. It is the end of striving and the beginning of living. The search was a necessary prelude, a divine discontent that stirred you from your slumber. But its ultimate purpose was to lead you to the shocking, simple, and sublime discovery that what you were searching for is the very thing that is doing the searching. The eye with which you see God is the same eye with which God sees you. The journey is over. The arrival is now. The transition from seeking to knowing is not an intellectual event. It is a profound shift in the very seat of your identity. This is where truth ceases to be a concept you believe and becomes a reality you inhabit. Belief is of the mind, a fragile agreement with an idea that can be challenged by every contrary wind that blows. But knowing is of the spirit, an unshakable certainty that arises from the core of your being, a certainty that requires no external validation because it is its own proof. You do not believe you are one with God. You know it as directly and simply as you know you are alive. This knowing is the substance, the very stuff, out of which the miracles of your life will now be formed. Belief is always a step removed from reality. It is a conclusion you have drawn based on evidence, teaching, or hope. It exists in the realm of thought, and thought is a fluid, changing, and often contradictory landscape. A belief in abundance can be shattered by an empty bank account. A belief in health can be undone by a doctor's diagnosis. A belief in a loving God can be challenged by a personal tragedy. Belief is a house built on the sand of external conditions. But knowing is built on the rock of your own eternal being. It is not shaken by appearances, because it is the very power that gives rise to appearance. It does not deny the appearance. It simply understands the appearance to be a temporary formation, a shadow cast by a deeper, more substantial light. This is the critical difference between a philosophy and a demonstrated science. A philosophy is a system of thought to be contemplated. This teaching is a principle to be experienced. You do not prove it by arguing its merits. You prove it by living from its center and observing how the universe rearranges itself to conform to your inner knowing. The experience is the proof. The harmony that appears where there was discord is the proof. The supply that emerges from an unseen source is the proof. The healing that unfolds from within is the proof. This is not a matter of faith. It is a matter of practical, demonstrable law. Let this principle come alive in the most ordinary moments of your day. You are faced with a conflict with a coworker. The mind, operating on belief, might try to believe in the principle of harmony. It might repeat, "Al is harmony," while feeling the simmer of resentment. This is a conflict between a fragile belief and a powerful feeling. And the feeling will always win, manifesting as more conflict. But what if you were to move from belief to knowing? You would close your eyes for a moment, if only inwardly. You would turn away from the picture of discord and become still. In that stillness, you would not affirm harmony, you would listen for it. You would rest until you felt the reality of the one divine being expressing itself as you and as your coworker. You would know with a certainty deeper than emotion that there is only one life, and that life is whole and perfect. From that place of knowing, you would speak or act. And the action emanating from that depth would have a power to harmonize that no positive affirmation could ever possess. Or consider a moment of physical pain. The belief system says, "I believe in spiritual healing," while the sensation screams otherwise. The two are at war. But the path of knowing bypasses this war. It does not fight the sensation. It turns to the knowing of what it is. In the silence it asks, "What is the truth of my being right here, right now, beneath this sensation?" It waits. It listens. And from the depths, a knowing may arise, a knowing of wholeness, of incorruptible life, of a spiritual substance that cannot ache or fail. This is not a thought. It is a revelation. It is a felt sense of reality that, for a moment, is more real than the pain. You are not believing in healing. You are knowing life. And that knowing begins to act upon the form, not as a blunt force. And so we arrive at the ultimate implication the final glorious shock to the system of the mortal mind. This knowing of your true identity is not a state of spiritual bliss to be enjoyed in a secluded meditation. It is a radical call to awaken from the dream of mortality itself. You are not an improved human being. You are not a sinner who has found grace. You are the very activity of immortal, divine life, and the belief that you are a mortal creature subject to birth, growth, decay, and death is the central, foundational dream from which all other dreams of lack, fear, and separation spring. To know this is to be given the authority to consciously step out of the nightmare and into the eternal day of your own being. This dream of mortality is a pervasive hypnosis, a collective agreement so deep that it feels like the only reality. It is the lens through which you interpret every event. A pain in the body is not merely a sensation, it is a harbinger of death. A lost job is not just a change in circumstance, it is a threat to your survival. A wrinkle on the face is not a natural mark of living, it is a sign of inevitable decline. This entire framework is the lie. It is a story you have been told and have told yourself, a narrative woven from the fabric of fear. But the truth of I am exists outside of this narrative. It was never born, and therefore it can never die. It does not age, for it is the timeless now. It does not sicken, for it is incorruptible spirit. Your entire spiritual work is to shift your sense of self from the character in the dream to the wakeful consciousness that is dreaming, and then to awaken. You do not fight the dream, you simply awaken from it. You do not battle sickness, you awaken to the truth of wholeness. You do not struggle against poverty, you awaken to the reality of your infinite substance. The moment you believe you are fighting a real enemy, be it disease, lack, or death, you have already conceded reality to the dream. You have affirmed the very illusion you wish to dispel. Your power lies not in combat, but in recognition. See the dream for what it is. A convincing but powerless appearance, a shadow on the screen of your awareness. The screen itself, your I am, is untouched by the passing shadows. Let this recognition meet you in the most intimate aspects of your human experience. You look in the mirror and see the signs of aging. The dream shouts, "You are getting old. You are declining." This is the moment of choice. Will you accept the testimony of the dream, or will you, in that moment, close your eyes to the appearance and turn to the knowing? I am not the body. I am the consciousness that animates the form. I am the ageless, timeless life that is expressing itself through this form. This life is eternal, and its expression is perfect and unfolding in divine order. This is not a denial of the mirror, it is an affirmation of a higher reality. You are not putting a positive spin on aging, you are challenging the very reality of the dream of mortality. From that place of knowing, you may find your relationship to the body transformed, not from a place of fear, but from a place of harmonious and intelligent care. Or you receive a fearful diagnosis. The entire world of the dream, the doctors, the charts, the statistics, conspires to pull you into its narrative. It will tell you a story with a beginning, a middle, and an end, and that end is suffering and death. This is the most potent temptation to fall asleep. But you who have touched the truth have another option. You must listen, not to the story of the disease, but for the silent word of your being. In the quiet, you know, this appearance of disease is a part of the dream. It is a condition of the mortal belief. But I am not mortal. I am spiritual life itself. This life is whole, perfect, and self-sustaining. You do not fight the diagnosis. You rise above the level where it has any ultimate reality. You give your consent not to the dream of sickness, but to the truth of life. You allow that truth to permeate your consciousness, and in doing so, you withdraw the very energy that sustains the dream. This is the final initiation. It is to live in this world while knowing you are not of it. It is to engage with the dream of human experience while being firmly rooted in the wakeful state of your divine identity. The fears that once terrorized you lose their power, not because you have conquered them, but because you have seen through them. They are ghosts, and you have remembered you are solid. The pursuit of eternal life is over, not because you have attained it in the future, but because you have awakened to the fact that you have never been anything else. You are not a human being having a spiritual experience. You are spiritual being, the great I am, courageously experiencing the human dream for the purpose of awakening it to its own glorious reality.